Legislators in Albany mulling over a tentative deal that would have charter school supporters celebrating. It's a budget deal that just about closed. A charter school reform package is in place. It would put those 3 charter schools that de Blasio kicked out of public school spaces in New York back in place and provide them additional funding streams. And also, it looks like a pre-K funding deal will be part of this as well, shorter term than what de Blasio was looking for, but at least there'll be funding in there for pre-K, not just for the city, but for the entire state. Assemblywoman Shelley Mayer, curious, because we've heard so much in the last few months. De Blasio wants this and Cuomo wants this, and it seems like at the end of the day, everybody's going to get a little bit of what they want. Was all of this back and forth between the mayor and the governor just hot air? Was it posturing for position? Was it what? Well,
I choose to look in a very positive light. De Blasio raised these issues that were not on the page before: full day pre-K and quality after school. Super important. Were absolutely ignored. All of a sudden, now they're part of the solution. How much funding there'll be, I don't know, but there will be the opportunity to have full day pre-K in New York and after school, and the rest of the state. I think it'll be not enough money, but there'll be the opportunity to get in your foot in the door if you want to have full day pre-K, like places like Yonkers and Portchester. And so it's a good result. The politics, the hot air, it's unfortunate it took up so much room, because at the end of the day, we're going to have something better for our kids. So I'm happy about that. I think all the male egos aside, you know, at the end of the day, it's these little boys and girls that we're going to have a much better solution for them. And most districts are going to want it, and the city of New York is going to benefit tremendously.
Let me bring the male egos back from the side. Dominic, there's the back and forth between the two of them. I mean, has this just been more or less for our benefit for the last couple of months? Or do you think they're really, this is the way it's going to be going forward?
No, I think the governor likes the mayor, but what we saw was the governor illustrating, putting the Mayor de Blasio, in his place and reminding him who is the governor of this state. There's only one top dog, and Andrew Cuomo is saying, I'm the guy. So he delivered. Let's give him his credit. He delivered on the pre-K. De Blasio didn't get his tax increase that he wanted, but you know, maybe he should have thanked the governor and accepted it and moved on. Cuomo in an election year gets his tax cut that he wanted. Cuomo, for I believe the 4th year in a row, delivers an on-time budget. Remember, that used to be a major issue. I think we went for what, 15 years or 20 years without an on-time budget?
I can hear that in a campaign ad, on-time budget.
Oh, you know it's going to be issue number one of them.
Assemblywoman, it seems nobody likes talking about how you make the sausages, but is the budget process in Albany as convoluted and just hair-raising as it seems like for everybody on the outside?
Well, I would just say that last night in my hotel room in Albany, I got a call at 1:30 and another call at 4:30 about language that I was fighting about to be included in the budget bill. And credit to the staff. They spent many nights, no sleep. They're very responsive to what I wanted.
You said 4:30?
4:30 a.m.
And you're here
and she's
tonight.
Still here.
You're amazing.
4:30 a.m. over budget language.
Yeah, budget language. It mattered to me.
So we can budget the state, but we can't budget the time that it takes to do this.
It's not a perfect process, but you know, it's not a perfect process in Washington. It's not the legislative process with a lot of people in it, with a lot of requests and competing things. It's not perfect, but it is a lot to be said for a democracy, that people get around and ultimately come to a compromise, and that's what happens. Is it perfect? No, but it's a lot better than the alternative.
Want to jump quickly to New York City, where history was made more or less today in the NYPD. Philip Uri was named officially as the Inspector General for the police department. This was a contentious position for quite some time. The city council finally voted for this late in the Bloomberg administration over Bloomberg's objection to help keep and rein in stop and frisk, and I believe this was also part of the a decision that came from the federal judge that she wanted an inspector general as well, and you can read at home some of the process by which it came about in the Times there. Ray Kelly and Michael Bloomberg did not want this position. Dominic, how big a deal is this for the NYPD, especially when it comes to stop and frisk?
Huge deal, but I wouldn't want to be this guy for all the money in the world.
Why?
Because his job is considered, inside the NYPD, is considered almost worse than an internal affairs. They didn't want him. The unions were adamant in their opposition to him. It took a federal judge. It took the city council overriding Bloomberg. Bloomberg was not happy when they did this. And so he's almost in a no-win situation no matter what he does.
Is this the you break it, you bought it moment for de Blasio when it comes to crime? I mean, we know that he shifted out of Ray Kelly and went to Bill Bratton. And now that they've got the Inspector General, if the cops as they were warning us about late in the Bloomberg administration, say, well, if I can't do my job, why am I going to arrest somebody? Crime's going to go on the rise in the city. Is this the point where he really owns rising crime levels, if in fact that's what happens in the city?
As mayor, he'd have to own them, but the truth is he's only been in like 90 days now, or 95 days, and as we've heard, crime has actually gone down. So, you know, he is, though, like any executive, going to be responsible if crime does rise, and he'll have to take that. I have real doubts that having an inspector general is going to be responsible for making crime go up. I mean, I never bought that argument, but you're absolutely right, and Dominic's absolutely right. They don't want this poor guy there, so you know it's going to be a tough position for him to be in. But if crime goes up, he'll own it.
Andrew, the moment Mayor de Blasio took the oath of office, he was responsible for whether or not crime goes up
but
or
Mayor
down.
de Blasio doesn't get phone calls in his hotel room at 4:30 in the morning and then come to RFL that night like our assemblywoman.
He shoveled though. He shoveled early in the morning.
Maybe we need to start calling him at 4:30 in the morning. Maybe that's what it'll take for him to get on. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on RFL. When we come back, Representative Peter King speaks out about the move to cut funding for New York's nuclear detection program. We're going to have that and some other security-related New York City stories after the break.